Darkness was all he saw. He felt claustrophobic, and the air was dusty, making it difficult to breathe. There was a ringing in his ear, but a distant voice called out to him. The voice faded into his range of hearing, and it became more familiar. It was Tails. Light cracked in, and it was at first a bit blinding. It was clear to him then. He was covered in rubble. Bricks, chunks of metal, and all sorts of debris were crushing him. As the pressure became less and less extreme, he saw the faces of his friends, Tails, Knuckles, and Shadow. "Sonic!" Tails cried out to him. Knuckles reached out his hand and pulled Sonic from the rubble. As he was removed from the remains of what was once the Exodus base, Sonic collapsed to the ground. He took several deep breaths of fresh air. "Sonic, are you all right?" Tails asked as he helped Sonic to his feet. I'm fine," Sonic lied, his voice a bit hoarse. As he attempted to walk a few steps, Sonic's knees buckled and he fell to the ground. "Oh no!" The three rushed to help him. Pikachu stood alone, away from the group. All of this destruction and chaos was caused because of him. Goofy had said it himself, and now the Tails doll was back. Could it all be true? Pikachu hated the thought of it all. Knuckles looked over at Pikachu in the distance. "I'm gonna go talk to him," he said to Shadow and Tails, as they stood by Sonic, still weak on the ground. Knuckles slowly eased his way towards Pikachu. "Hey," he said. "You alright, buddy?" Pikachu looked over and gave a quick nod. "Rough escape, huh?" Knuckles said. "We're lucky to be alive." Pikachu looked over at Sonic and said. "Not unscathed, though," Knuckles said. "No journey goes without pain, but we always make it out okay." "Just say it," Pikachu said. "What?" Knuckles asked. "I know you're all thinking it," Pikachu continued. "How this is my fault. We lost Timon. I put us all at risk. And now this? The Tails doll coming back, what happened to Sonic, it all comes back to me." Knuckles was both shocked and upset about what Pikachu had said. "What we went through," he began, "was not some crazy accident that you planned. We wouldn't have known anything about the Exodus if it had not been for you, and Timon would have never been able to lead us to them. We wouldn't have had a chance. The only thing that comes back to you is the fact that we're still alive. Sure, some things went wrong, but none of that is on you. Goofy, the Exodus. It was them, and them alone." "He can't get up," Tails said to Shadow, worried about Sonic. I can try." Sonic struggled to speak. "You've tried several times," Shadow said back. He looked up at Tails. "We're gonna have to carry him." "How far is home?" Tails asked. "Don't know," Shadow responded. "But we aren't going back, that's for sure." "Why not?" Tails wondered. "Because if Goofy hasn't destroyed it already, that's where he's headed now." That's exactly what Goofy was doing. With the Tails doll's help, Sonic and Tails' house went up into flames. The structure came tumbling down as the fire weakened it. The flames sparkled in Goofy's eyes, and his revenge was just beginning. "Excellent, Tails doll," he said. "If they're smart, they'll be taking this as a warning. The only others who stand in our way are Mario and Luigi, so we must deal with them quickly." The jewel on Tails doll's head grew brightly. "You're sensing a strong power in the north?" Goofy asked before pulling out a communication device. "Exodus members, do you copy? Any and all members left, please respond." It only took a minute. "We're here, boss." Goofy received a little more than 20 responses, so he continued his order. "I believe to have tracked the Mario brothers, and plan to deal with them shortly. I need backup. I'll put my location on your trackers. I need as much help as possible. Any members left at the destruction of the site of our base, destroy what's left of Sonic and his friends, and join me to take down the Mario brothers." "Yes, boss," one replied. "Good," Goofy said, before storming off, with the Tails doll close behind him. There was a sharp sting in Sonic's legs. "We're gonna try to walk now, okay?" Tails said to Sonic. As Tails and Knuckles helped him to his feet, the pain in Sonic's legs grew worse. "Alright, let's get out of here," Shadow yelled back, leading the way up to the rocky hill of rubble. Shadow was far ahead when he reached the top of the hill, and he yelled in pain as he was hit by a blaster. He flew back and rolled down the hill of debris. Shadow rolled in front of Tails, and Tails immediately saw a burn mark on Shadow's arm where he had been shot. "Exodus men! They're armed!" Tails shouted. "Oh, now you tell me," Shadow said sarcastically. "Are you okay?" Tails asked. "No," Shadow said, "but I'm angry enough to get even with these guys. Let's go!" Shadow charged back up the hill. "Tails," Knuckles said, "stay with Sonic. Slowly ease him up the hill. I'm gonna go help." Tails nodded. Pikachu dashed up closely behind. Shadow and Knuckles and Pikachu hid behind a small brick barricade. "What are we gonna do?" Shadow asked Knuckles. Knuckles peered over the brick wall. "There's only 2 armed guards," he said. "The other 3 are empty-handed. I'm gonna sneak around and take them out. In the meantime, I need you and Pikachu to keep them busy. Pikachu, think you can take out these guys with 2 lightning attacks?" "Yep," Pikachu said anxiously. "Alright, good luck," Knuckles said before creeping off. "Here goes nothing," Pikachu said before shooting a small spark that bounced its way up to one of the armed Exodus troops. It shocked him. Pikachu seized the moment, peeked over the wall, and shot a powerful ball of electricity to finish him off. "Just one more," Shadow said. "Keep it up." Pikachu summoned a lightning bolt that slammed down on the other armed man, wiping him out. At this point, Knuckles had snuck his way behind the last 3 Exodus men. He was facing a giant brick wall, so he simply pushed the wall over, crushing the 3 troops. "Why didn't we just open with that?" Shadow said. "And miss that fantastic lightning display?" Pikachu said. Yeah, bravo," Shadow replied. "Now let's grab these 2 guns." Tails had made his way up the hill with Sonic still at his side. "Heads up!" Shadow yelled, tossing a blaster to him. After Tails caught the weapon, Knuckles walked over and said, "I'll take Sonic from here," and took it from Tails. 2 more shots fired, causing the gang to duck for cover. "Dang, how many men are there?" Knuckles asked. Shadow rubbed his hands across the blaster. "Oh, it has been too long," he said in joy. Shadow quickly popped out from behind the barricade and shot one of the men. "How many have guns?" Tails asked. "I didn't check," Shadow replied. "Hold on." He quickly stuck out his head again, then ducked just in time to miss a flying shot that exploded against the rock wall. "There's 4 left," he said, "all armed." Tails took a blind shot at an Exodus troop. "Did I hit him?" he asked, with his eyes closed. "Yep, he's dead," Shadow confirmed. "Alright, at the same time now," Shadow told Tails. They both leaped up and shot 2 other Exodus troops, leaving one by himself. "Crap, I'm out of ammo," Shadow said. "Me too," Tails panicked. The Exodus man slowly walked towards the group, with a blaster in his hand. "That's okay," Knuckles said. "We'll need this one." Knuckles jumped over the barricade as fast as he could and tackled the troop into a nearby wall. The wall cracked from the force, and Knuckles had a strong grip on the Exodus man. "Where's Goofy?" he shouted. "He must have ordered you to finish us off. So where is he?" The man panicked. I don't know." "Don't you lie to me," Knuckles yelled. "I'm not. He did tell us to kill you guys, but he's long gone from here. You think he'd stop to see if we're okay? He doesn't care about us." "Well, good," Knuckles said, "because I don't either." He let go of the man, backed up, and the wall came tumbling down on top of the Exodus troop, killing him. "Geez, Knuckles," Shadow said, "that was dark." Knuckles turned around, embarrassed. "Yeah, I didn't expect the wall to collapse like that." "Is everyone alright?" Tails asked. "Do I have to answer?" Sonic groaned. "Oh man," Knuckles rushed over to him. "Who was supposed to be watching Sonic?" Knuckles asked, picking him up. "You were," Sonic responded. "Oh, sorry," Knuckles said. "It's fine," replied Sonic. "Just get us out of here." "Where do we go?" Shadow asked. "These Exodus guys aren't going to let up." "The bunker. Peach's bunker," Tails chimed in. "We'll be safe there. And we need to make sure Mario and Luigi made it out okay." Shadow looked around. "I don't see him lying around here, thankfully." "They must have escaped long before Goofy showed up," Pikachu suggested. "Can we save the chatter for the bunker?" Sonic asked. The gang immediately pulled themselves together, walked out of the Exodus base demolition grounds, and made their way towards Peach's bunker. The sun had begun to set, and Mario and Luigi were sprinting through a field towards Princess Peach's bunker. Their clothes were burnt a bit, and their faces were bruised and covered with ash. Grass whipped by them and sweat flew down their faces as they rushed towards the field. "Please be okay, Peach," Mario panted. The door of the bunker swung open, and Mario and Luigi rushed down the metal staircase where Peach waited for them. "Mario!" she cried. Mario gave her a hug, with a worried look on his face. "Are you okay?" he asked. "Yes, I'm fine," she said. I heard a loud boom an hour ago, and I didn't know what to do." "Well, I'm glad you stayed here," Mario said. "Things have gotten worse." "I didn't think that was possible," Peach panicked. "Well, trust us, it has," Luigi started. "What do we do?" Peach asked. "We should stay here for a while, wait for things to blow over, and then see what we can do. Luigi, barricade the door." Luigi went up and locked the big metal door and barred it down. "Where's Sonic and everyone else?" Peach asked. Mario stopped, panting, took his hat off and looked down. "They didn't make it." "We don't know that," Luigi argued. "What happened, Mario?" Peach asked. Mario collected his thoughts. "We were in the Exodus base, looking for a Chaos Emerald, when all we heard was a big rumble. We weren't about to find out what it was, so we ran to the exit. We looked for the others, but they were nowhere on the main floor. We rushed out the door and a big explosion sent us flying back. We called their names in hopes they were okay, but Sonic and his friends were nowhere to be seen. Out of nowhere, this thing came flying out of the rubble, followed by a crazy guy. The thing was flying around and it looked like a monster. It had some glowing thing on its head, and it flew around all over. We were curious to find out what it was, but not curious enough to stay out there and die. So we ran, as fast as we could, and got here." Peach couldn't believe it all. We have to find them." "Peach," Mario started. "They are gone. I'm sorry, but there's nothing we can do. We go out there and we'll die. Our best bet is to stay here and—" Thud. "What was that?" Luigi asked nervously. Thud. "Someone's bursting down the door!" Peach cried. "Peach! Peach!" Mario panicked. "Do you still have that extra smash ball?" Peach nodded. Yes," she said. "I kept it safe in case of emergency." "Well," Mario began, "now's as good a time as any. Give it here." Peach pulled out a glowing smash orb. "We'll have to take the back exit," Luigi said. "All right," Mario said. "Let's-a go." Goofy and Tailsdoll, along with 5 Exodus men, had finally knocked down the bunker door and came rushing down the stairs, but found nothing. "What the—" Goofy was confused. "There's no one here." "That's where you're wrong," Mario's voice called out. They all looked up and saw Mario standing in a small windowsill. "Is that—" an Exodus man started. "That's right," Mario started. "It's-a me, Mario." Mario unleashed a huge spiral of flames into the Exodus group. The bunker filled with a flood of fire, and the Exodus men scrambled to the stairs trying to escape, but they failed, falling back into the pit of flames. Tailsdoll managed to fly Goofy out just in time, but they were both a bit burned. They flew back up the stairs outside the bunker, which burst into flames as soon as they made it out. Goofy was laying on the ground, coughing. No, he groaned. "How could you have let this happen?" Goofy shouted at the Tailsdoll. Goofy pulled back his hand and smacked Tailsdoll to the ground. "You know how much I've gone through to get this far," he screamed. Tailsdoll picked himself up off the ground. "I've lost too many men," Goofy sighed. The two of them sat there, aside the burning building. Sonic and the gang were slowly making their way through the field. Tails was carrying Sonic as he flew over the grassy plains. Sonic was starting to black out. "Hold on, Sonic," Tails said. "The bunker is close." There was a small grass hill that Shadow had already reached the top of, but was standing there in shock. Guys," he said, "I don't think the bunker's happening." The rest of the group made it to the top of the hill, only to see that the bunker was in flames. "No!" Tails cried out. "Mario, Luigi," Pikachu whispered. "I hope those guys made it out," Knuckles said. Tails stood there, still holding Sonic. "I can't believe this," he said. He looked at Sonic, who had been completely passed out. "Tails, look out!" Knuckles shouted before pushing Tails and Sonic out of the way. Knuckles was hit by a giant dark ball of energy that sent him flying back. Tails' doll flew down, and Goofy walked towards them all. "I knew you'd all come back," Goofy said. "Your humanity has always been your weakness." "Why are you doing this?" Pikachu asked. "Him!" Goofy yelled, pointing down at Shadow. Shadow stared back with a bit of shame. "This is your last chance," Goofy shouted. "I'll let you all go. All I want is Shadow. Leave him to me, and I will spare you." "No way!" Knuckles shouted. "Tails, get Sonic somewhere safe. We'll deal with this." "But," Tails argued. "Go!" Knuckles yelled. Tails ran off to get shelter. "Alright," Knuckles said. "Let's do this." Knuckles leaped at Goofy with a powerful punch, but Tails' doll quickly moved in the way. Knuckles' fist slammed against the Tails' doll, but did no damage. Tails' doll then shocked Knuckles back with a wave of energy. "Knuckles!" Pikachu screamed. He then shot several lightning bolts at Tails' doll, who absorbed them all and blew them back at Pikachu, knocking him to the ground. "Dang it," Shadow said. "Guys, I'll get rid of Tails' doll. You two take care of Goofy." Shadow quickly sprinted off into the field, and Tails' doll followed him closely behind. "Alright, Pikachu," Knuckles said. "This guy will be easy." Knuckles rushed to Goofy and punched him to the ground with a powerful blow. He then kicked Goofy across the ground further away. Knuckles began to run towards him again, but Goofy quickly reached into his pocket for a dart gun. He shot Knuckles with a knockout dart, and Knuckles immediately dropped to the ground, unmoving. Pikachu gasped, but was quickly shot down as well. Goofy slowly walked over to the two, picked them up. He dragged their bodies over to the burning bunker and tossed them inside, deep in the flaming structure. Shadow was bursting through the fields as fast as he could, but he failed to lose the Tails doll, who began shooting multiple dark energy balls at Shadow, who dodged the first two and kicked the third one back at Tails doll, dealing a bit of damage. Shadow seized the moment and dove towards Tails doll, knocking him down. "Back to the party," Shadow mumbled before heading towards the bunker. When Shadow arrived, Goofy stood there alone. Where were Pikachu and Knuckles? "Where are they?" Shadow demanded. "What did you do to them?" Goofy laughed. "Haha, your friends are being engulfed by the flames of hatred. This is where you decide. Sacrifice a couple of measly allies and end it all here by stopping me, or you let me go." Shadow looked at Goofy and back at the bunker before rushing in. "Excellent choice, my friend," Goofy shouted before running away. Shadow reached the bottom of the bunker's stairs and found Pikachu and Knuckles. "Oh no, no, no," he cried. He picked the two up, both still unconscious. Shadow turned to go back up the stairs, but the walls caved in, blocking the door with flaming chunks of wood and concrete. Shadow desperately looked around for an exit and saw a small windowsill. He threw Pikachu and Knuckles out the window to safety and then began to climb his way out. When he reached the window, he looked up and saw Goofy. "Well done, Shadow. You've saved your friends. But now who's going to save you?" Goofy kicked Shadow back down into the burning bunker. Shadow landed hard on his back and struggled to get up. The smoky air filled Shadow's lungs, and he struggled to breathe. "Don't worry," Goofy shouted down. "They're safe up here with me." Shadow gritted his teeth angrily. Tails doll flew down in a rush and slammed Shadow into a wall. Shadow tried to push Tails doll off, but it was no use. His grasp was too strong. The ceiling above them burst, and chunks of wood and concrete fell on top of them, and Tails doll released Shadow, who scrambled up the stairs. Tails doll slowly floated toward Shadow, who was desperately looking for something to fight back with. Shadow saw a piece of metal that had begun to shred off the wall, so he continued to peel it off. Tails doll was getting closer, and he was right in front of Shadow when he managed to rip off the metal bar. It was sharp enough to impale. Shadow drove the metal piece into the jewel above Tails doll's head, and it caused a small blast, sending the Tails doll back and Shadow flying through the debris and the metal door. Shadow landed hard on the ground, but he was finally safe from the fire. He coughed a bunch before the smoke overtook him, and he blacked out. Goofy peered into the bunker, but the smoke covered his view. He chuckled. He's dead by now. He pulled out a gun and pointed at Knuckles and Pikachu. Whack! Tails had been behind Goofy and knocked him out with a large 2x4 piece of wood. Goofy fell to the ground and was still. Tails grabbed Knuckles and Pikachu and brought them to safety. He then quickly came back for Shadow and took them away from the bunker. Tails' doll was still down in the burning structure when it collapsed on top of him. The area was filled with smoke and fire. Aside from a cracking and popping of the flames, it was dead silent. Suddenly, some piece of wood and concrete rumbled, and out of the smoke were two glowing white eyes. Tails' doll had survived. Tails flew towards a nearby forest and went deep into the woods, far away from Goofy and the Tails doll. It was nighttime, and the sky was dotted with stars. Tails set his friends on the ground and searched through the woods for some water. After a minute of walking, he stumbled across a pond. The moon shimmered down off the pond of water, making it look crystal clear. Tails dunked his face in, drinking from the pond and washing ash from his cheeks. Once he was finished, Tails brought the others to the pond, splashing them with the water. Sonic walked over and stuck his legs inside the pond. Ah, he sighed in relief. That feels great. The others regained consciousness after Tails splashed them a few more times in the face. What happened? Knuckles asked. We barely escaped, but I think the Tails doll is gone, Tails said. Tails saved us, Sonic said. Without him, we may not be here. Shadow was uncertain. Tails, he said, I appreciate what you did, but I wouldn't be so sure that the Tails doll has been defeated. Shadow, the whole bunker collapsed on him. There's no way he could have made it out. Shadow shook his head. We all know how powerful the Tails doll was in the past, and we sure as heck know how strong he is now. With the power of the Chaos Emeralds, I wouldn't doubt for a minute that the Tails doll is still alive. Oh, great, Knuckles said nervously. Just relax, guys, Sonic said. Let's worry about getting some rest. We're safe for now. Tails walked over to Sonic and sat next to him, putting his feet in the pond as well. How's your leg? Tails asked. Oh, it's been better, Sonic said. But it'll heal. Should be okay by morning. Oh, good, Tails said. Hey, sorry I wasn't of more help earlier, Sonic said, ashamed. Hey, Tails started. We're all here together. That's good enough for me. Now come on, let's get some shut-eye. The friends all went to sleep in the deep woods.